the drag eternal. I am sinking. Not dramatically, not with screams or grand gestures, but in the quiet, relentless pull of days that refuse to end and refuse to mean anything. Here, in a country I once called home, yet has become alien to me, surrounded by parents whose well-meaning love feels like chains wrapped in concern. I count the hours until I can flee back to my home, a country in which I am, and always will be, a foreigner, to its sparse rooms, deafening silence, and a world whose language I cannot speak nor understand. This seclusion I crave becomes a weight crushing my bones into dust. Anger flows in my blood now, thick and unyielding. Frustration coils around every breath. People grate like rusted blades. Online fools spew their casual cruelties and ignorances, and I seethe at the screen until it blurs. But nothing cuts deeper than the normalized horror of animal flesh, blood-soaked mother's milk, suffering served up as daily sacrament. I turn it off, slam it down, retreat to slumber because the rage is too pure, too visceral. It hollows me. I want no one near. Human voices, human smells, human demands, they all feel like violations. Solitude is the only mercy left, yet even that mocks me with its emptiness. My own expectations hover like accusing specters. Goals for the body, the work, the words I once hurled into the world with fire. They flicker, tease, then gutter out. This lengthy absence will soon reach its inevitable conclusion, and work waits like a mouth ready to swallow what little remains of me. Money demands it. Survival insists. But the thought of returning, of performing competence while everything inside screams for cessation, drains the marrow from my bones before I even begin. I reach for the phone, for another distraction, anything to delay the confrontation. Time marches anyway, indifferent, carving deeper lines into a face I barely recognize. Anxiety blooms hot in my chest, then depression smothers it into dull ash. The loop is merciless: desire, exhaustion, failure, loathing, repetition. A life not fully lived, half ghost already, dragging a carcass toward old age and the grave, with all the enthusiasm of a condemned man walking his last mile. Friends drift into view, carrying their own storms, their pains. I hate seeing them hurt. Perhaps once I would have shouldered pieces of it, eager to please, desperate to be useful. Now, the strength in me is gone. Their burdens land and quickly curdle into resentment. I pull away, selfish in my caring, ashamed of the withdrawal, furious at my own limitations. Why must I bleed for others when my own wounds suppurate unchecked? They become inconveniences the moment they need consistency, the moment they fail to vanish on cue. People in general have become this to me, temporary containers for connection, for utility, for the brief illusion of not being utterly alone. Then the switch flips, and I long for them gone. The mask slips. The eager-to-please reveals itself as cruel calculation, and I retreat into the cave of myself, hating the creature I've become. Intimacy haunts my fantasies like a fever dream. Warm skin, urgent touch, the sweet oblivion of bodies colliding. I want it desperately, on my terms, my timeline. A willing vessel to empty myself into. A quick dopamine hit. No strings, no lingering needs, no concern for their well-being once the rush fades into apathy. Then they leave. The door shuts. I reclaim the silence. Selfish, broken, honest in the darkest possible way. I fantasize about love, but know I cannot sustain it. The wanting and the not wanting twist together in a knot that chokes. I seek, I reach, then numbness creeps in, the medication's gift, turning sharp edges into distant fog. I feel everything, and then feel nothing, caught between hunger and hollow. The world offers no anchor. Delusional sparks of hope flare briefly. Maybe this goal, maybe that connection, maybe tomorrow will differ, only to collapse under the weight of evidence. Everything is futile. Abundantly, inescapably futile. A pointless rock spinning in cold space, carrying meat puppets through routines that lead nowhere. I try but cannot. I want, but the desire curdles. The energy required to fight this current has evaporated. Therapy was a costly mirror reflecting the same fractures. Pills numb the pain without healing, leaving me floating, detached, watching my own descent with tired eyes. Everyone I know will die. I will die. The knowledge sits there, heavy, almost comforting in its finality. I no longer have the strength to rage against it or pretend otherwise. Days bleed into one another, each one heavier than the last. The visit with family sharpens every contradiction. Gratitude tangled with suffocation. Love curdled by irritation. Back in my foreign home, the solitude will welcome me, yet the internal tyrants will follow. Unmet goals whispering accusations. The vegan fire burning so hot it isolates further. The misanthropy that makes every human face a potential wound. Loneliness gnaws at the edges even as I push people away. I am desperately seeking something, meaning, relief, connection, escape, while knowing the search itself is part of the torment. A life half-lived, rich in potential yet bankrupt in execution. The suffering is constant, a dull blade pressed against the throat of every waking hour. Cuts from self-judgment, wounds from relational failures, aches from a body and mind that refuse to align. The deep bone weariness of carrying burdens I never asked for, and can no longer set down. There is a dark poetry in it, this relentless unraveling. The way hatred for animal exploitation makes the world unbearable, turning casual consumption into personal betrayal. The way caring turns poisonous, eager hands becoming fists of resentment. The fantasies of intimacy that reveal my own transactional cruelty. The longing for solitude that isolates me further. Wanting and not wanting in the same breath. Trying and failing in the same motion. Feeling until the numbness claims its due. It is deep. It is dark. It is unresolved. A wound that festers without closure. A scream swallowed into silence. Yet, I drag myself forward because stopping feels equally impossible. Toward work I dread, goals that mock me, a future that looks like more of this gray expanse. Old age waits with its slow decay. Death waits with its indifferent embrace. I do not want to die alone, yet the energy required to build anything lasting, anything that might ward off that tragic solitude, has long since deserted me. Fighting feels like delusion in a hopeless world. So I continue the march, heavy, lonely, seeking without finding, caring until I cannot, wanting until the wanting breaks me again. This is the sad truth, raw and unadorned, a man drowning in plain sight, articulate in his despair, yet powerless to surface. The pain is everywhere, in the expectations that bind, the loops that trap, the hatreds that purify and isolate, the numbness that steals even the dignity of full feeling. A life not fully lived, heavy with unlived possibilities, desperate in its quiet seeking, relentlessly marching toward an end that no longer terrifies because fighting it requires more than I possess. The suffering echoes, the futility reigns, and still the days come, one after another, each one a deeper cut into the same exhausted soul. In the end, there is no resolution, no redemptive turn, no false dawn. Only this, the drag eternal, the ache unending, the lonely trudge through a meaningless expanse toward a fate I am too tired to outrun. Alone with the weight, alone with the wanting, alone as I always have been, even when hands reached out and I could not hold them.